Thank you for joining us today for the announcement of the opening, the official announcement of the opening of Wilmington University School of Law.
Since Wilmington College was founded in 1968, it has met educational needs of our community in innovative ways, in the traditional liberal arts and in occupational preparation. Now, this new enterprise, which involves building a team of educators and gathering the resources to support their mission, will be as demanding as anything that the Wildcats have ever undertaken, to be sure. But this mission can meet a need for the students and important needs of the Delaware Bar. After all, the population of this state has effectively doubled since Alfred Avens founded the school across the street a half-century ago. But beyond that, the need for lawyers in Delaware has more than doubled. Law firms that in the early 70s would hire 1 or 2 newly admitted lawyers now try to fill 12 to 15 offices every year. Expanded services by the state of Delaware, ranging from protection of those at risk to consumer protection to high-quality staffing on both sides of a criminal trial, have called for a constant stream of new lawyers who are committed to public service and prepared perhaps to make a career of it. And the reputation of the Delaware judiciary at the state and federal level has expanded the number and types of cases that must be resolved in the courts in this state. In corporate law, patent litigation, bankruptcy proceedings, trust controversies, the need for talent is greater than ever. The Delaware Bar, as an institution, hopes that Wilmington University School of Law will be able to provide this state with more of the well-grounded new lawyers we meet, not just young lawyers, but those with more maturity than many of us possessed when we entered law school as 23-year-old know-it-alls. We wish the university well as it assembles a team of legal educators, scholars, and clinicians to mentor this next generation. We will watch with interest as Wilmington University uses its historic strength in creatively addressing how to make postgraduate study available and accessible to youth and adults who are motivated to seek the unique benefits of legal education, whether to become accomplished professionals and serve clients, to serve the public interest, or otherwise deploy what a legal education can grant. Above all, we promise, indeed I guarantee, that Delaware lawyers will support the students of Wilmington University School of Law as they make their way into the profession, because we need the talent, the desire, and the moxie of the future students and graduates of Wilmington University School of Law.
We have always served traditional and non-traditional age students and have found that their shared experiences inspire rich learning opportunities. 90% of our students work either full-time or part-time. We've always offered convenient options for working adults. Our faculty are practitioners who bring their experiences into the classroom. We have always put students first and fostered an inclusive environment that offers academic excellence, affordability, convenience, and flexibility. Our law school will be no different. And now, it's my pleasure to introduce the Dean of the Wilmington University School of Law. I'll tell you a little bit about him before I welcome him to the podium. Phil is a graduate. Phil Closius is a graduate of Notre Dame and the Columbia Law School. His most recent position was Dean and Professor at the University of Baltimore School of Law. He was also Dean and Professor at the University of Toledo College of Law. Phil also had extensive experience as a practicing attorney. At both schools, while he was dean, the first time bar passage rate increased by 30%. His schools also saw the two largest improvements in the history of U.S. News and World Report's overall rankings. In addition, placement percentages and opportunities for law graduates improved by 20%. We selected Phil as the dean not only because of his extensive experience, but also because his values align with our mission and culture of providing excellent student service, opportunity through access, affordability, and excellence. And he shares our belief in having integrity and treating others with respect. Now I would like to introduce and have Phil come to the podium to offer remarks.
I'm going to begin my remarks with a question that I asked Judge Farnan and President Harmon the first time we met to discuss this, and that was, who in their right minds thinks that Delaware needs another law school? And after about a half an hour, we concluded that no one thinks that we need another law school that's doing the exact same thing that all the other law schools are doing. And it was at that point that we realized that the values of this university that President Harmon just referred to match perfectly with the ideals that I wanted for a truly unique and innovative law school. And that's how we ended up at this moment, right? Realizing that the need was there to do a paradigm that was different from what every other law school was doing, and that's what we're trying to do. So, a few months from that conversation, how does it actually translate into the ground, right? How do we get Wilmington University's values to actually be incorporated in a working, thriving law school? First, Wilmington University and the law school will always be student-centered. As Dr. Harmon says at almost every meeting we attend, right, we start our meeting with the question, how does this benefit students? And if it doesn't benefit students, we usually have fairly short meetings, right? And that's the same thing with the law school. Every question I ask, every meeting we do, I say, okay, I will do it if you can tell me how this is going to make life better for our students, right? So we always start off with a perspective of student-centeredness. Two, we're having a curriculum that, at least to my mind, is unique in legal education, right? For those of you who are lawyers, we're going to require the first 2 years of law school completely. Why are we doing that? Because I think that every lawyer needs to know a certain basis in law. And I've been in law schools for, well, let's call them decades and be kind. I've been in law school for a long time. And you wouldn't believe, some of the older lawyers, what law schools students don't take anymore. I don't take commercial paper. It's too hard. I don't take tax because I didn't like the teacher. Okay, so I'm taking it all away. Right? We're going to require all the courses that I think a basic lawyer has to have in first and second year. If nothing else, every lawyer I know gets hit up by friends to either do their taxes or to write a will. You might as well know what you're talking about. Every lawyer I've ever met also thought third year of law school was pretty much a waste of time. Back in my time, everybody was like, why are we here for this third year aside from paying more tuition to the law school? We've changed the law school curriculum to then make the third year completely optional for the student. Aside from that tax course I'm making everybody take, students will be able to craft what they want to do in their own third year. They can take virtually the whole third year as externships or as experiential learning. They can take it all in doctrinal classes, in some specialty that they're interested in, or they can do some mix of both. So we're hopefully going to make this a lot more interesting for people because the third year won't be seen as just sitting in class again for a year extra than what we had. We're also building in, talk about it later, we're going to be building in the Delaware system of proctoring the 21 weeks that you have to do. We're going to build that into our curriculum so students can get that done in their third year with academic credit instead of having to figure out how to get money to pay for this Again, if they're in the big firms usually pay for it, but if they're not, they usually don't. So we're incorporating that into our actual curriculum so that people can get that done. We're also doing something, again, I don't think anybody's doing it, we're going to give what I call an education in taking legal exam taking. Well, it's a nice way of saying we're going to repeat in our classrooms the exam style that's on the bar. So every required class is going to have a 45-minute closed book essay, mild on bar essays. They're going to have a 30-question, 60-minute closed book multiple choice test to, again, go mimic the bar exam. And we're also using ExamSoft because that's the software they have to use to take the bar exam. So again, for those of you who know anything about testing, there's something called format familiarity. The more people take stuff, the better they are at it. So we're going to give them 20 experiences in the first 2 years that will duplicate bar-tested conditions, and faculty members can then use the other hour and a half for whatever they want, open book essays or however they want to do it. Third, our faculty. Right? For those of you who don't know how law faculties work, almost every law school in the country will only hire you if you went to one of 6 schools. I think that's nuts. We have people who have unbelievable practice experience who would not get a look at a law school because they didn't go to one of the 6. We are focused on hiring people who have practice experience, who have a great resume, and everybody in the room who I've talked to, my staff, any faculty members we've talked to, I start every conversation with, we can stop this quickly unless you want to make a difference in a student's life, right? I don't care about your publications. I don't care about what you're doing. I care about what you're going to do in that classroom, and do you want to be involved in making life better for students? And I think we're going to have a great faculty because of it. Fourth, we're going to be small, right? Again, there's no reason that I know of where we have to be big. We're targeting a 50-person section in the day and a 15-person section at night right off the bat. We don't have plans for getting bigger than 500 people. When I get to talk about the new building later, that building will hold 500 people, and that's about it. There's no reason for us to be bigger. And then finally, again, in keeping with our values from the university, we're affordable. Somebody has to do something about law student debt. The average student graduates with $150,000 of debt, and that's considered small. I'm almost embarrassed to stand up here and tell you that $24,000 is cheap. But our tuition will be $24,000 for the full-time, $18,000 for the part-time. But I tell you what I tell our prospective students, right? Don't come because we're affordable. Come because you agree with the mission. Come because this is what you want to do and because you think we're the best place to do it, and then let the affordability be a benefit, right? But don't come because we're simply affordable. But we are trying to break the paradigm of where law schools are going with debt. In this region, the cheapest law school tuition is $57,000, and it ranges up to $75,000 a year. And so we're considerably under it. Second topic, what can we do for Delaware? Well, I start off with what I tell prospective students, right? I get it. I was an English and history major. Everybody's coming to law school to get a job, right? Whatever they did in undergraduate, whatever stuff they did, when you go to law school, you expect a job. I get it. And our job is to get a student to the job that they want, wherever they want it to be. You want to be in Arizona, you want to be in Philadelphia, you want to be here, it's our job to get you there. Having said that, while you're with us, we expect you to be part of the Delaware legal community, because that's what we are. We expect you to be part of this legal community and to give service to the residents of Delaware. Right? How do we implement that? Well, number one, we will be a diverse community ourselves. And we'll be diversity in the ways that the university describes it. As President Harmon says, we define university broadly. And we'll implement that on both the faculty, the staff, and the student body. I'd also like to say publicly what I've said to the Chief Justice privately, right? We are committed to being an active partner in the implementation of the Delaware Supreme Court strategic plan for improving diversity of the bench and the bar, including the severe underrepresentation of the African American community that's noted in that plan, right? We believe a law school is essential to implementing that plan and making it a reality, and we are willing to be an active partner in achieving that. Secondly, we will include the legal community in the non-Wilmington portion of the state in our activities The university has campuses in Georgetown and Dover, which will give us a nice base to come from, but we don't want to be strictly Wilmington-oriented. There's a whole rest of the state here that I believe has a severe need for legal assistance. We know in Delaware, everybody talks about intellectual property, corporate law, and bankruptcy as the pillars of the bar. I get it. I think we'll have students interested in doing that. We also feel that there's a need for people who have legal needs that aren't multinational trillion-dollar corporations. Who's doing landlord-tenant? Who's doing wills? Who's doing divorces? We think our graduates will fill that need also. And then finally, we have a goal to increase just the number of law students who stay in Delaware. Say to you, we're not afraid of the Delaware bar, right? We will never tell people, don't stay in Delaware because the bar's too hard. Go and take an easier bar. It's our job to get people past the bar where they want to go and where they want to stay. And we're going to do our best to make sure that people understand the opportunities that exist in Delaware and to not shy away from them because they don't think they can pass this bar. Last, spend a second to talk about the ABA and accreditation before we start taking questions, right? The ABA, we have to take students before we can apply. So we will start students in August of 2023. We will then apply in March for accreditation. They then send a site team to us in the fall to evaluate us, and then they give us, they make us a decision on provisional accreditation in March. So that's kind of the timeline that we have. Again, there's no guaranteeing anything with the ABA. They make me say that, by the way. There's no guaranteeing anything with the ABA, but I know that we will present an incredibly strong application. Why do I know it's strong? Well, number one, we start with the strength of Wilmington University, our home institution, which already has been vetted by the ABA because of the paralegal program and other things they have. We are financially strong. We have a great strength supporting us, so we're not really worried about that whole problem that frequently comes up in accreditation where the underlying institution has financial problems, is trying to make money off the law school. Two, this is a nice way of saying we're all old, I guess, but we have a really experienced staff, right? All of our staff has been in legal education, well, the least for 15 years, and the rest of us for more than that. So we're familiar with the ABA. We've worked with the ABA. We bring a whole range of experience already to the issue. So again, I think that will help us really be strong in providing our application to the ABA. Third, to my right, the ABA cares about facilities. I think this is a great facility. I think this is an extraordinary facility. So again, this is reflective today, so I guess people understand the incredible support that we get from this university. And finally, we know we're going to be strong because our values are consistent with ABA values. So we feel as if we're going to be presenting a very strong application to the ABA in 2 years when we go in front of them. I'd like to open up for questions and have a dialogue here. I mean, I got a 2-hour version of this if you want me to keep going, but I'd like to open up for questions, but we're going to start with questions from the media. I know we have some media members here in attendance. If anybody wants to do media questions. Yeah.
Is it underway? Has it started?
Yeah, I heard you.
Has it started with applications and interested students? What do they do now, and what's available to them now?
Jeff Cervatny over there is my admissions person, and he keeps telling me, we have no historical record here. We don't really know what's going to happen. We have waited until today to really do anything public. So our application, our website, and all that are fully active as of this moment. We've gotten a lot of inquiries before this, doing virtually nothing. So we think we're going to be just fine to meet our goals. We're not really worried about it. If anything, we may surpass them, but the reaction so far has been very strong. And again, that's without trying to really publicize it too much. So we'll let you know in a couple of months if you want, but yeah, I think we're in good shape.
Hi, Jake Delaware Business Times. I'm just curious, with the ABA accreditation, let's assume for some reason it is not accredited, would that still mean that students would be graduating with a law degree, or what impact would not having ABA accreditation have?
Students can't take the bar until we get provisional accreditation. And I told you in March of, I'm going to forget the year, but in March of 2025, they'll tell us. Usually they will tell us, if we don't get it, what we have to do to fix it, and we would still have another year to get it done before our first class takes the bar. So we're going to get 2 bites at the apple, and usually the way the ABA works, they don't just say, okay, no. They usually say, we're denying it now, but, here are the 3 things you have to do. Come back and tell us when you got that done, and, we'll do it. But again, we're expecting just to get it.
Sure. And then as the state court report and the State Bar Association have said, we're looking to increase diversity in the ranks of the state's bar. The Delaware bar is notoriously difficult. You mentioned trying to kind of teach to the format, doing some of these things. Is there anything in addition to that the Wilmington Law School could do to really help prepare students for one of the more rigorous bar exams?
Yeah, we're going to talk about this. The best way to keep law students in Delaware and the best way to have them pass the bar is to have them get to know you. I mean, they're going to know me, they're going to know the teachers, but the way people stay is when you start them off in first year and you give them a clerkship with a state court judge. Or you get them in their second year and you get them into some kind of internship with a law firm where they meet people and they make mentors and they see the opportunities, right? So we need to be integrated with the bar to help us educate them and to help you get more lawyers in the bar, right? People are going to stay if they feel like they have a home here. People are going to stay if they're aware of opportunity here. And again, one of the barriers we see to the bar is the preceptor clerkship. We're going to take that away because we're going to let them do it in the third year. And just from anecdotally, I didn't do it myself, but talking to people, people see it as a barrier, especially if you're not in the big firms. Where again, we think there's a big need for non-big firm lawyers in the state to handle the legal problems of regular people.
Bob Yerrick, Out and About magazine. I'm just wondering if you have an idea of number of faculty you'll need, adjuncts and professors.
We don't need adjuncts for the first year. We plan on hiring 9 faculty members for the first year and then increase after that. So no adjuncts until we get past our first year. We probably don't need them until our third year, I'm sorry. But about 9 is what we're targeting for our first year classes. And we'll have an announcement on that sometime later about the kind of extraordinary faculty I think we're going to assemble. Others? Yeah.
Rachel Sawicki, Delaware Public Media. Kind of going back to Jake's question, do you have any specific goals for keeping students in Delaware, keeping them in the Delaware court system? And again, kind of going towards the Delaware Supreme Court's diversity and inclusion initiatives. Do you have any specific goals for how many students you want to try to keep in Delaware?
No, when you're doing a law school, right, you kind of have this line you have to walk because we're going to get people from out of state who are going to want to go back, right? And we're not going to have everybody from Delaware who wants to stay in Delaware. We know what the numbers are of people who take LSAT who are Delaware residents, right? And it's like 150 right now, so it's not many. It's one of the lowest in the state. So we're not going to push people to stay in Delaware. What we're going to do is we're going to give them an opportunity while they're here to get integrated with this bar and bench. And based on the reaction I've had from just talking to people in the bar and bench, that's going to be a sell. You guys are all really good, right? You're welcoming, you're nice, you know what you're doing. That's who people want to be associated with. So our job is not to tell people, well, we want 35% of you to be in Delaware, right? That's just not what we do. But our job is to make sure that they get an experience of Delaware. And a Delaware experience, I think, will sell itself. Somebody, anybody else? Hand up. All the questions are coming from people at the tables and nobody from chairs. Yeah.
What are your expectations for online classes?
We would like the night program to be online. Our original plan was to have the day be the in-person alternative and have the evening program, the part-time evening program, be completely online. Then I talked to the ABA, and the ABA says, well, you can't do that until you get provisional accreditation. So again, trying to be student-centered, we have to have the evening program in person except for one class. So contracts is going to be taught remotely. And I have a friend who's going to do that. He's dean at 3 other law schools. He's been teacher of the year at 6 different law schools. He's going to teach that class, and he's helping us as a consultant and advisor. Then we'll have 2 classes that are live, and we're going to reduce that to 2 days a week. The normal is 3 to 4 days a week. Again, if you know anything about night school, the commute is what's the barrier, right? I mean, you don't want to spend an hour getting here, then be in class, and an hour going home. So the plan is to take the evening program all online as soon as we get provisional accreditation, but have the day be the in-person alternative. And again, the way the ABA is currently set up, the day program has to be in person, but that means you can have a third of your classes online. So for example, the contracts class, or the, let's say the con law class, you could theoretically have a third of your classes be online. But our intent at this point is to probably not maximize that and keep the day class as the in-person class. But it's coming, right? I mean, everybody knows that sooner or later the ABA is going to have to allow more of this. So, Jeff, any questions from the chat? No? We're all good. Okay. I'd like to give special thanks to Judge Farnan, the Board of Trustees, President Harmon, and all the university staff who have been so supportive and so welcoming to all of us. Please understand that we would not be here without the values you've nurtured and the success you've created at this university. We hope to be worthy of all the trust you've given us. So without any further from me, back to Connor. Connor?
Thank you all again for coming and attending here in person. And for those of you online, thank you for watching. It's my pleasure to say on behalf of Wilmington University, we're pleased to have you here and have you attending even virtually as well. And now it's my great pleasure for the first time to officially say, on behalf of Wilmington University School of Law, thank you for coming and being here. Thank you for joining us and supporting us. We'd like to give special thanks to those members of the state and federal courts who took time out of their busy calendars to be here today, as well as the members, faculty, deans, and of course the Board of Trustees. If there are any questions that or someone didn't have an opportunity to ask that you would like to follow up with, you can reach us at law.wilmu.edu. That's law.wilmu.edu.